All right, I'm going to talk. Anthony Fauci's been testifying before the Senate. I'm going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk more about this Obamagate thing. Joe Biden on George Stephanopoulos today. Here's a clip of some of the things he said strung together. Cut 24.
What did you know about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn, and was there anything improper done?
I know nothing about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn, number one. Number two, this is all about diversion.
I do want to press that. You say you didn't know anything about it, but you were reported to be at a January 5th, 2017 meeting where you and the president were briefed on the FBI's plan to question Michael Flynn over those conversations he had with the Russian ambassador Kislyak.
Now, I thought you asked me whether or not I had anything to do with him being prosecuted.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was aware that they asked for an investigation, but that's all I know about it, and I don't think anything else. Look,
was the Justice Department right to drop those charges against Michael Flynn?
Well, based on a couple thousand, I guess I saw a headline yesterday. I guess a couple thousand former, or was it a couple hundred? I'm not sure. A whole lot of former Justice Department people said the Attorney General should step down. I have been absolutely stunned by the way in which he has not conducted the office properly. But look, I don't know the detail of where we are right now. My point is a simple one. Focus on what's in front of us.
Sleepy Joe Biden, who has no clue what the hell he's doing.
Really, I have to say, I pick on George Stephanopoulos a lot because he's obviously hasn't been a really good person. But he could have been kind enough to water the guy because the guy is a potted plant. He no longer knows where he is or what he's talking about, but we do. So we are going to talk more about this thing. You know, he was talking about these 2,000 former DOJ employees, and the press was really pushing this yesterday, who are calling on Bill Barr to resign. Bill Barr, probably the best thing in the in the Trump administration right now. An honest guy who's not going to be stopped. They say that Duran's investigation is now going, quote, full throttle. You're going to hear a lot of fear. I think you heard Obama actually afraid that his legacy was what it was going to become. And the press is running interference for him and therefore becoming the opposite of what it's supposed to be because they cannot admit they backed the wrong horse. They cannot admit that they should have covered this guy. And by the way, if they had covered him like they're covering Trump, if they had covered him with some kind of hostility, some kind of, speaking truth to power, he wouldn't have been this corrupt because he would have been afraid of being exposed. But he knew he could get away with it because he knew the press had left their post. That's why he did the things that he did. He knew it. He knew that he could get away with it because he knew the press had left their post. So these 2,000 former DOJ employees, all that means is that there's a lot of Obama appointees still in Washington, that most of Washington, most of the deep state, most of the permanent state, we'll call it, are lefties who thought basically Obama had come down from heaven and they're willing to do anything they can to discredit Bill Barr. But it's just absurd because Bill Barr, remember, Bill Barr has not gone after Strzok. He hasn't gone after Comey. He said he's not going to do that. He said he's not going to go after Comey. So, I mean, he has been a very straight arrow guy, but this was dirty. And what we don't know, Stephanopoulos was talking about Chuck Grassley. We'll play a little cut of him in a minute, saying we've got to investigate what Obama knew and when he knew it. That's actually not the question, okay? Because we know Obama knew. I mean, months and months and months ago, Andrew McCarthy was talking about the fact that this was a counterintelligence investigation. That was their excuse because they had no criminal predicate. They had no reason to investigate this as a criminal case, so they put it under this aegis of a counterintelligence investigation. The purpose of a counterintelligence investigation is to inform the president. It is to inform the president in case anything bad is going on, in case there are spies going around. So we know Obama knew. Of course he knew. The question is, did he know that they were investigating nothing? So let's listen to what Chuck Grassley is saying because it speaks to the fact that we now have a press that is actually covering up information. And it's important because they're covering this flu thing at the same time, and they're covering Anthony Fauci, and they're covering, what Trump is saying. And we know now that they're dishonest. This is proof of their dishonesty. So let's take a look at what Chuck Grassley said in the Senate.
Obama and the mainstream media pundits, they all seem to be silent all of a sudden. I've heard no comment from Mr. Obama about the independent Inspector General's findings that Andrew McCabe lied under oath to federal investigators multiple times. Or I haven't heard about how Department of Justice prosecutors falsely told the court that they had produced all Brady material to Flynn. Or I haven't heard them when the federal government surveilled an American citizen connected to the Trump campaign without probable cause and based on intelligence that the FBI knew was questionable at best. Too much silence on something that now is so obvious.
You know, I mean, this is the thing. Too much silence on something that's so obvious. And we don't know. You know, there's a lot of stuff. He was talking about Brady material. Brady material is exculpatory material, meaning stuff that they have to produce when they're investigating you that says you're not guilty. You know, they can't just hide that if they work for the government's supposed to be fair, right? The government is supposed to be fair, and they're supposed to hand over exculpatory evidence so that the judge and the defense can mount a good defense. And they didn't do that. They literally did not do it. And we have to be clear about what they're saying, because yesterday, or I think it was Sunday, the New York Times ran an op-ed by Mary McCord, who used to be in the Justice Department, saying, oh, they took my comments out of context and it wasn't fair, and they made it sound as if somehow this was important. It wasn't important. The DOJ and Bill Barr very carefully stuck to one issue, which is the issue of materiality. For it to be a crime for you to lie to the FBI, you have to be a material witness. It has to be a material lie. You know, if you say it's Thursday and it's Wednesday, that doesn't matter. It has to be something they're investigating. The people who were investigating Flynn had already determined that he hadn't lied, and that nothing he had to say, and that he wasn't colluding with the Russians, and that nothing he had to say was material. And there's a little glitch with a paper that hadn't been signed by the person who was supposed to sign it, but that is what they said, and the person who was going to sign it was going to sign it. There was no reason to investigate him. There was no reason to investigate him. And the thing that we don't know yet, the thing that we don't quite understand is, I mean, it seems that on January 5th, Trump is already the president-elect. It really does seem that Obama said, investigate this and don't tell Trump. And remember, we know that happened, and they didn't tell Trump about the Flynn investigation, but they did tell him about this stupid Christopher Steele P thing, you know, where he was supposed to have prostitutes. It was clearly Russian disinformation. He was supposed to have prostitutes urinating on him, when we know Trump is a germaphobe and would never have done that. That they told him about because that gave them the chance to leak it to the press. That's why they did it. They did it. This whole thing was really an attempt. It looks like to me an attempt to cripple this president. That's what it looks like. Now, I can't say that for 100% certain yet, but that's what it looks like. Now, this means something really important, okay? It means a couple of really important things. One, it means that the election of Donald Trump saved our butts, okay? That's not saying Trump is a great person or a wonderful guy or the sweetest man who ever lived or, you know, the angel of God. But it does mean that if he hadn't been elected, this incredible Democrat machine would have gotten hooked in even deeper into the United States federal government. And why is that so bad? Well, in order to say why it's so bad, you only have to look at Chicago. You only have to look at cities that are run by this sort of machine. And you never get rid of them. They dig in. The fact that Ed Koch and Rudy Giuliani plucked that terrible machine that was strangling New York to death is just an amazing, amazing thing. And so, you know, when you hear what was going on, here, let's play Kayleigh McEnany. She's the new press secretary. She's doing such a great job. And she's talking about the fact, this is the shorter McEnany cut, she's talking about the fact that the FBI went into Flynn knowing that one of the things they were trying to do was destroy him.
The FBI discussed what their intent was beforehand. This is what they said. What is our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired? These notes, in addition to other evidence, raise serious questions about the handling of the FBI's handling of Michael Flynn's case. Did the FBI confront Flynn with the intent to get him to lie so that we can prosecute him and fire him? Did the FBI manufacture a crime against Lieutenant General Michael Flynn?
I love that woman. I love her more than sharks love blood.
Now, let me just play. I mean, these are serious questions about and it's not just, you can't just say, oh, we lied to you for 3 years, but now that's all in the past because we're busy lying to you about the virus. You can't say that. We have to go back and look at this, and we have to look at the way the press is asking these questions. Cut 22 is Donald Trump being asked about this.
Obamagate. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on from before I even got elected. And it's a disgrace that it happened. And if you look at what's gone on, and if you look at now all of this information that's being released, and from what I understand, that's only the beginning.
What is the crime exactly that you're accusing him of?
You know what the crime is. The crime is very obvious to everybody. All you have to do is read the newspapers, except yours.
Read the paper, except yours. Before you go, one last thing. Hit the subscribe button so that you stay up to date on all our content.